Hello and welcome. I am Riley.
And I am Ryan.
Yes, and we are here today, January 3rd, 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. But we're going to take some time and we're actually going to look back at the year 2020 because it was wild.
It was a year.
Yes, it was a year. But there was some bright spots. There was some good that happened as well. And so that's what we're going to do. So if you're listening on the podcast, welcome. So glad that you're joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. So glad that you are joining us. Ryan, what does the schedule look like for us today?
Yeah, so we are going to talk a little bit about some of our volunteers, some stories that we had throughout the year 2020 within GSM, within camps, retreats, and stuff like that, and then we're gonna look forward and see what's coming for the year 2021. Because as great as it is to look back at a year like 2020, it's even better to look forward to what God has in store for us in the year 2021. I'm super excited to be doing this, Riley.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. Let's jump right in. All right, time for our first section here. We're going to be spending some time talking a little bit about volunteers. Volunteers within GSM, it's vital.
Yeah.
Like, we view every single volunteer as a leader, whether they're leading a life group, so a group of students, whether they're hanging out at the guest services, with the guest service team, helping students get checked in, all that kind of stuff. Even on like the setup team and the transition team, volunteers within that, they are leaders. And so within Granger students, volunteers are hugely important. And it really helped make a lot of this stuff happen. And so that's why we want to spend some time and give a couple shout outs and that kind of thing. So who are some of our new volunteers this year?
So we had a handful of just new volunteers, specifically within our life group leaders, which has been awesome. I love life groups. And some of those are Scott. We had Lisa hop in. We had Carter and Camden hop in. We had Emily, Jules. We had Hannah. We also had Mark hop back in.
Yeah.
So it was an awesome year. I'm sure we're forgetting some people as far as that goes, but it was an awesome year for some of our new volunteers this year. It's been incredible to see in a year full of pivoting, to see some of our new volunteers really take charge and take a lead on some of that stuff, which has been awesome.
Yeah,
Speaking
absolutely.
of taking charge and taking lead, who are some of our volunteers that are not new?
Yeah, these leaders have committed chunks of their lives to helping students take their next steps toward Christ, and we're just so thankful. And some of those leaders are Beth and Wade, as well as Matt and Kalia. They're leaders that have been here for more than 5 years, which is just absolutely incredible. What were you doing 5 years ago?
Not Granger Student Ministries.
You were playing basketball.
I was trying to.
Yeah. I was playing video games, probably, if we're being honest. But yeah, we had Matt and Kalia, and then, the Wolfgangs at the Elkhart campus. They've been involved with Granger students, since the start of the Elkhart campus. Which is a long time. We've also had Ross and Otis as well, hanging out with students for a while. And the cool thing is that some of these leaders help in just middle school, or they help in just high school. A couple of them help in both. Michelle's also been around for a while, which is really awesome. They've gone to retreats with our students. They hang out with them on Sundays. They reach out to them, during the week, which is incredible. It's so helpful to have adults just around students. Adults that are going to help those students, like I said, take their next steps toward Christ. And Carol is amazing. Carol, we are so thankful for everything that you have done and contributed, and same to all the other volunteers that we have mentioned. And these aren't all of our volunteers. No. These are just some that, if you hit the 5-year mark in anything, that's really, really incredible.
That's impressive.
I don't know besides school, I don't know if there's anything that I've done for 5 years consecutively. I'm not proud about it.
That's crazy. But the cool thing is you see not only the impact that these volunteers have within the church, within GSM, within GCC, you see it throughout the community and clubs and in the schools and whatnot. And they're making an impact. They're leaving their footprint throughout the community and really throughout the world as our students go out and make an impact. So
yeah, and as we're talking about these leaders, I just want to shout out some leaders that have just graduated a leadership course that Granger students offered called Boot Camp. And I think it's 23 students that are high school students that have just spent the semester diving into servant leadership and what it looks like to use their gifts and talents to serve within the church. And we just, a couple weeks ago, we went through some interviews with them as we close out that process, and to hear the steps that all of you boot campers have been taking, it's so exciting. And I'm so much looking forward to seeing the impact that they have, not only within Granger students, but within GCC as a whole and within their schools and the community. And so it's cool to see some new leaders coming in, to recognize some leaders that have been around for a chunk of time, and to hype up and get ready for these leaders that are going to be taking some big steps this spring and into the next year as well. So very much looking forward to that. I think we got some stories that we want to share. So
we do.
Why don't we just get right into that?
Might as well.
Transition. All right, story time. I love stories.
Yes.
Pretty sure you like stories.
I do enjoy a good story.
All right. What's your favorite story?
I was not expecting this question.
Yes, you were.
I don't know why, but Cat in the Hat came to my head.
The only one that came into my head was The Little Engine That Could, but I don't know if I've actually ever read it or if it's just always been referenced to me. Anyway, we're not talking about any of these stories.
Yes.
We're talking about stories that have happened within Granger students, and we've been kind of looking over some things, and we had 3 retreats or camps. So we had the high school winter retreat, if you can think all the way back to February 2020. We had middle school camp happen at the beginning of August.
Granger edition.
Yes, Granger edition here on campus. And then we had in October the renewal middle school retreat. We had about 300 students attend those 3 things. So 300 total over the whole year of 2020, 300 students going away, well, I guess not for camp, that was here, but taking intentional time, to lean into what Jesus has for them, but then also like within all of that, leaning into their groups, leaning into their peers, it's just so valuable. So that's something to celebrate. 300 students participating in retreats and camps over this year, which is really, really cool. And I can't remember what else.
Yeah, it was great. I'm just going to share a little bit about some of my takeaways from those 3 events.
There we go. Yes.
I don't know if this is what we were supposed to talk about, but I remember back at Winter Retreat, that was my first time going to Winter Retreat, and I got to lead a group of 4 guys, 2 guys from the Elkhart campus, 2 guys from the Granger campus. It was Peyton, Austin, Trevor, and AJ. And Peyton and Austin knew each other a little bit because we were in life group together. And Trevor and AJ obviously knew each other from the Elkhart campus. They were in life group together. But the 5 of us really came together and had a fun time going sledding, doing the escape room, which I figured out I'm terrible at. But it was just really great thinking back to February. Then when I think about middle school camp, I had the awesome opportunity. My brother actually got to serve and be a leader at middle school camp for a group of guys, and it was really awesome to see him step into that role of leadership. He's in college right now down in Texas, and so to see him step into that role, see him to share a little bit about his story from stage was really cool to see. And then when I think about renewal, man, being a part of the games crew was incredible.
Yeah.
It was an amazing time. We all got along. They were so helpful. Made my job really easy. And so those are 3 takeaways from those 3 retreats or events that we had.
Yeah, that's awesome. And as I'm thinking through it, I think of the big game party.
Hell yeah.
That was beginning of February, and we had 2 students share a little bit of their testimony.
Yep.
Eva and Evan, and that was incredibly powerful for students to hear from students.
Yeah.
That's always a win. And they were so prepared, and they knocked it out of the ballpark. That was a ton of fun. In March, we along with a lot of the rest of the country, things were shut down.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, we're doing online Granger students. And so we started jumping into that. One of the things at the end of the school, it was for spring break. We did a spring break video, and we did a Rube Goldberg machine. We attempted it, and it was my idea.
It was the worst day of my life.
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. We spent so much time on it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
No.
Thankfully, we didn't break anything in the church, which
that we know of.
That's true. Besides our hope and pride, that was a little broken that day.
Was shattered. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was just coming up with that kind of stuff for the online thing when none of us had ever really dove into that before. That was a ton of fun. Camp was one of those things where it's I can't believe it's happening.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it's happening here, but I'm so thankful that it's happening.
Right.
And it was awesome. It was different than camp past. But man, multiple students were led to Jesus during that week, which is amazing. And just so thankful for that we had the opportunity to have camp on campus at the Granger campus. Elkhart GSM is it's a blast. It's Wednesday. It is a ton of fun. We've got amazing leaders and students over there. The students at the Elkhart campus, they're so tight. They really are. It's really, really refreshing and enjoying to hop over on a Wednesday night. Over the fall when we were able to be together, we were playing a bunch of Among Us, which is a ton of fun. And that kind of thing. So that stuck out to me. We asked John Bemis what were some of his highlights, and he mentioned with going online, it was one of those things where it's it's a little difficult. People aren't gathering together, so we don't know who's gonna jump in with us and that kind of thing. And one of his highlights was just getting to 300 subscribers on YouTube, which is huge. Yeah, and so that's really cool. He also mentioned middle school camp as well. Bemis plays a huge role with getting worship around and organizing everything for that, and helping lead students to connect with God in that way. And so that's really awesome. And he also mentioned the 8th grade fun night, which happened in August. Yeah. That was a ton of fun. We went to actually my parents' house, and we did some mini golf before that, and then went and just played volleyball and hung out and grilled burgers, and that was just a ton of fun. Just being able to hang out with students and relax. Thinking through a couple specific stories. Do you want to share the one about with Connor?
Yeah, so Connor is actually one of our incredible life group leaders. He's a life group leader in middle school and in high school, and he had a chance to go to one of his students' basketball games. And unfortunately, his student actually injured himself during the game and needed help off the court. And because Connor was there, he had the opportunity to, along with the student's dad, to help this student off the court and take him to where he needed to be to get checked on and get taken care of. And it's just one of those stories of just being there and being present. It's something that student, I think, is gonna cherish. And the relationship that he and Connor have built through the past couple of years really it's just been incredible to watch. And a story like that's sad because the student injured himself, but to have a guy like Connor there, a mentor like Connor, a friend like Connor is really awesome.
Absolutely. There's this one story of a student that had never really participated with anything Granger students related until camp. and she showed up to camp, and I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday we get this message from the student that is just like so encouraging, because it's just like, hey, I found like a new family within Granger students, and like just the power of that, and seeing like students feeling and experiencing a place where they belong, and like that sort of peace that comes with that's incredible. It gives me chills thinking about it. And then thinking through renewal, there was a student who, middle school student, plugged in with Granger kids, has been for a while. From what I hear, is just like an incredible volunteer with them on the Out Loud team. But not really plugged in with Granger students, and decided to go to renewal and had an absolute blast. And then after renewal has been with us, on the Sundays that we were in person, and jumping in with some of the online stuff too. And so just hearing again that piece of like connectedness and community, especially after a year like this where it is hard, when you can't literally can't be with people. And so those are a couple broad stories, but then a handful of very focused stories that, as we're just thinking about this year, so thankful for the opportunities that we did have to connect with students, and for students to connect with other students, and that kind of thing. But now we're going to take some time, and we're going to look forward. All right, let's bring this home.
Let's.
2021. It's January 3rd right now, so we're in it.
We are
currently, but there is more of the year ahead of us, and so that means that like GSM, we're jumping back in. Granger students jumping back in January 10th, so 7 days from now. And in high school, we're going to be talking about our emotions in a series called Vibes. Talk about anger, guilt, fear, some of that stuff. And in middle school, we'll be talking about the family, all things family. I'm really excited about both of those series. I think it's going to be a great start to the new year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'll be solid. Life groups will be happening.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Groups will be happening.
Yes. So excited about kicking off life groups here shortly. But we've got some events happening as well. Ryan, want to give us the first couple ones here?
Yeah, so the first event that we have is actually Food Drop.
Yep.
And it's one of the greatest events throughout the entire year that happens in the Michiana area at the Granger campus and at the Elkhart campus, where we will be delivering food on food to people in need throughout this time. And that's going to be happening on January 23rd.
Yes.
Michael Jordan's number.
Yes.
In case you wanted to remember.
Yes.
That. It is January 23rd, 2021. And we're going to be doing Food Drop that way. And then after Food Drop, Riley, what do we have?
Well, we have mission trips. So those will be happening, in July. However, the whole mission trip process starts very, very soon. Applications to be on one of those trips is due February 7th. So if you want to be on a mission trip in July, you got to be within the application process and all of that, because the team starts to form and grow really, really early, and that really just helps out, when we're actually on mission together in July, in those certain areas. So if you're interested in being on a mission trip, get those applications in by February 7th. And then very shortly after that, we've got high school winter retreat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It is it is very, very exciting. February 19th to the 21st, we are going to Miracle Camp, which is actually the camp that we went to for renewal. The staff up there is phenomenal.
Incredible.
The actual grounds and facilities is great. I'm really, really excited to take our high schoolers there and to just have a weekend where we can just dive in to what influence looks like. And so really, really excited about that. And then what's happening at the beginning of June?
Well, there's this thing that happens every year at the beginning of June.
Yes.
That a lot of people get excited about.
Yes.
A lot of people know about.
Yes.
A lot of people go to and are involved in. And it is middle school camp.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest thing ever is happening in June 7th through the 12th.
Yes.
And that's coming this year. And it's going to be an incredible time for us to spend a week taking our next steps toward Christ and doing that together.
Yep.
With a group of people. And so I'm so excited for middle school camp this year. It's one of my favorite things.
And then 2 weeks after that, for the first time ever, we believe, at Granger,
probably
high school camp.
High school camp.
High school camp. I can't believe I'm actually saying it.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before.
Yes.
But never to.
But it was always like we hope to.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's happening.
It's happening. 2020 did a lot of things,
yes,
including
brought high school camp.
High school camp.
From the top rope, high school camp is coming in for this summer.
Yeah.
End of June 28th to July 1st. We will have a ton of more information coming soon with that. But I believe right now you can, if you're a high school student, you can actually register for Winter Retreat. Okay, it is online. You can go to grangerchurch.com and find registration for that. Yeah, if you have any questions about anything that we've just ran through as we're looking forward to 2021, you can email any of your questions to gsm@grangerchurch.com. I would also encourage you, parents that might be listening to the podcast, head over to the website, grangerchurch.com. There's a family calendar available, and it has all of the dates for some of the big events, not just like student stuff, but it will have Granger Kids events in there as well, which that would include day camps and the Launch Mission Experience, as well as some women and men's retreat stuff.
Yep.
And so head on over there, check that out. And also, if you're not aware, we are using the ParentQ app. The ParentQ app is simply an application that you can download on your phone, and essentially what it is, it's tied into our curriculum that we go through weekly, and it will send out some little updates just to help cue you into conversation with your students. And so those conversations will be focused towards the curriculum that they're discussing either on a Sunday or a Wednesday night. So that can be really helpful. You can find some of the paper documents will actually be online at grangerchurch.com/students as well. If you're listening to the podcast, then you already know that there's a Granger Students Parent Resource Podcast.
I just put my hands up like the people.
Yeah, they
the
can't
podcast,
see you.
I put my hands
but
up.
if you're watching on YouTube, you can see. And so we encourage you to check that out. We're hoping to do some cool things with that this upcoming year, which I'm very much looking forward to. But I think that is everything that we've got.
Yeah, I think so. And this has been fun. And I would just say, no matter what 2020 brought us, whether it's hard times or discouragement, God is still in control, and there's hope in the name of Jesus. And I just hope that hope can encourage you throughout this 2021 year, because who knows what it's going to bring.
Absolutely.
And all we know is that God's in control.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on this Granger Student Ministry podcast. We hope you have a fantastic year, and we'll see you later.
We will. Peace.